The Royal Ripple Counter. Long ago, there lived in Srinagar a wealthy young man called Nityanand. His father had left him enough money and land. He leased out the fertile field to other farmers and earned a handsome amount of money every month. So there was no need for him to work for a living. He thus led a contented life with his family. Nityanand's neighbor was none other than Somnath. He was a man of no special talent or qualities, but he and his family commanded much respect and had an air of authority. Was it because Somnath had a prestigious position as an accounts officer in the state? Nityanand could not help noticing the high status his neighbor enjoyed. However, he did not pay much attention to it until one day something happened that changed his attitude. It so happened that one day the sons of the two neighbors began to quarrel while playing. Gradually, it grew into a major fight. The mothers of the two boys too came out and instead of pacifying their sons, began screaming at each other on top of their voices. You will soon realize the consequences of being rude to me, Radha. Your man is nothing but a useless idler, whereas my husband is a respectable and trusted officer. Just wait and see what happens to you, shouted Kanta and stormed back into her house, dragging her son with her. As days passed, Radha and her husband realized that their neighbors were in fact bent on troubling them. Egged on by his wife, Somnath, who enjoyed enough clout, began to harass Nityanand. He charged him for not paying the taxes. Nityanand had to make several rounds of the offices before he could prove his innocence. Both Nityanand and Radha felt humiliated. Only because you are not doing a prestigious job like that of Somnath, his wife dared to call you a useless idler. Why don't you try to get yourself a good and respectable job so that we can teach that arrogant couple a good lesson? Lamented Nityanand's wife Radha with tearful eyes. Nityanand began to consider. If he too could find a job that would put him in a position of power, none would dare harass him. Fired with a new zeal, he began his efforts straight away. In those days, local appointments were made by the governors of provinces who reported directly to the king. He met his governor and requested him for a job in the administration, any job. However, the governor told that there was no vacancy. Undaunted, Nityanand pleaded again, Sir, I need the job not for the sake of money but to command some respect and prestige. I will be satisfied and happy even with a post that carries no salary. I am ready to do any job. Please don't disappoint me. The governor was amused at the unusual request. Why not humor this man? He thought. But what work could be entrusted to such an obviously inexperienced person? The governor considered for a while and then finally said, There is only one job I can immediately give you. If you don't mind, you are free to take up the task of counting the ripples on the river that flow through the city. So desperate was Nityanand for a job from the authorities that he readily accepted the offer. He assumed his duties seriously. Armed with an appointment order bearing the royal seal, he posted himself in a boat. In those days, the river was the main thoroughfare. So he moored his boat near a bridge at the busiest center of the traffic and began counting ripples. The news spread like wildfire, and within a few days, the royal new officer, the ripple counter, became the talk of the valley. People began speculating about the purpose of the unusual appointment. Nevertheless, his neighbors looked at Nityanand with respect and wonderment. After all, he was carrying the king's orders. Radha also found that her importance had already risen in the neighborhood, much to her gratification. Encouraged by this response, Nityanand now began extending his authority to new fields. While recording his observations in his leisure, he began ordering all the boatmen not to disturb the ripples and upset his count. Under the pretext of counting, he would stop their boats for hours together. Now, this was something the boatmen had not foreseen. They soon realized that they had to keep him in good humor if they wished to go about their business. Before long, though Nityanand earned no salary, he started making good money from the boatmen. At last came his long awaited opportunity. One day, while busy at his job, Nityanand was thrilled to notice Somnath and his family coming his way in a shikara, a typical boat of the region. They were decked in their best clothes as they were going to attend a relative's wedding. As soon as the shikara was within hailing distance, Nityanand ordered, "Stop!" Somnath wanted to know what the problem was. Whereupon Nityanand informed him that his boat was interfering with the ripples that he was counting. Having ordered the boatman to wait until he finished, he started counting ripples and recording his counts, recounting, checking, and rechecking. Time steadily ticked away. Hour after hour passed, and Nityanand's royal job was still not over. Somnath felt frustrated, as his presence was essential at the ceremony. However, he could not reprimand Nityanand, who was on official duty. Finally, he was forced to eat humble pie and request the gloating ripple counter to let him go. Nityanand nodded and let him pass with a meaningful smile. Thereafter, Somnath and Kanta forgot their arrogant attitude and took great care never to offend Nityanand and his family. In fact, they became good friends. Please like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Do provide your feedback in the comment section below. Thanks for listening.